Welcome to the Esports Next official podcast. My name is Adam Joshua, and here we have a fellow Canadian, JJ. JJ, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is JJ, or I go by JJ, but my name is Jessica Jean Armstrong. I'm one of the co-founders of the studio 404 Creative, and we develop custom experiences in Fortnite. So we use the UEFN platform to develop games in Fortnite. We're about a 4-year-old studio. We've been making games since Fortnite Creative came out. We work with brands primarily. We make our own original games as well. We just love building games.
Awesome. Yeah. And you are out of Waterloo, Ontario.
I am. I'm so proud that you knew that. But Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. So it's a smaller town, but it's known for tech, especially.
Yeah.
So it's a great school for Waterloo. University of Waterloo is a great school for engineering students, and tons of tech happening and startups happening in the area. We're now seeing more esports coming to the area, and lots more gaming communities. So definitely a good place to be.
It is, yeah. I grew up not too far from there in another town named after Water Down, if you know where that is.
I do, of course I do.
Hamilton, Burlington area. You know where it is, though. It's awesome. My friend actually my best friend works out of Waterloo, and it's the birthplace of BlackBerry. So
yes, it is. That's what I always tell people, and I'm like, do you know the BlackBerry?
Yes.
It was born.
Well, now people have seen, if you've seen the BlackBerry movie, it is CanCon. So they heavily promote that it's from Waterloo and all the intricacies there. And I personally grew up with a BlackBerry. So guys, look out for Waterloo, big tech industries, your Seattles and your Los Angeles, and everyone who thinks they're ahead of the game. Watch out for Waterloo. They're the secret force.
They call it Silicon Valley North.
Silicon Valley North. I love that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So ever since you've started a 404 Creative with this guy over here, Josh, where has it taken you?
For me, it's taken me a lot of places. It's given me a lot of opportunities to speak. I love speaking. I do stand-up comedy in my spare time, I love doing public speaking. So it's given me great opportunities to get on stage and talk about what we do. Probably the highlight was last year at Unreal Fest. I was able to speak alongside some really great people in the community from 100 Thieves and some people from Epic as well, and share the stage with Tim Sweeney. So that was a very exciting moment.
So cool.
I definitely asked Tim Sweeney to sign me a baseball because he thought it was weird, but he did it. It's the only one in the world, so nobody is allowed to ask him.
Yeah, why not? So you do stand-up comedy as well. I did a stint in stand-up comedy. I love it. Do you have any bits you could share with us? Just a quick bit?
I don't know if it's appropriate for this audience.
Oh, it's your...
No, I mean,
okay. That's
for sure. I mean, I'm not... It's hard to come off the cuff because it's a lot of it... I'm very new, so I've only actually done 2 open mics before.
Oh, great.
But I used to do improv comedy, so that was my go-to.
Okay, where did you do improv? Did you do at Second City?
No, it was a small club in Kitchener-Waterloo. So
okay,
it was called Theater on the Edge, but the pandemic unfortunately shut us down.
Yeah. Did you move to online after that?
I didn't. I really just took a break, and then shortly after realized I love improv, but I think stand-up comedy is where I'd like to be. Just part-time doing it for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. When I did improv, it really broke me out of my shell. Like, I feel like I had so many of these things, but pre-improv, I was a lot more introverted than I am now. And then once I did it, I just kind of broke out, because once you just don't try and be funny, you just be funny and be yourself and be genuine. That's what kind of comes across to people. So that must have obviously helped you now that you're kind of speaking and doing all this front-facing things for 404. I'm sure it's helped you a lot.
It's been a really great skill to be able to improvise, especially, for things like this. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And being thrown up on stage. I love doing panel talks. So especially if I'm able to answer questions, it's another great reason why improv's a great skill to have. And much like you, it did break me out of my shell.
Yes.
It brought me to a place where I was very comfortable speaking about any topic. So
yeah. I wasn't afraid of public speaking. It just gave me that fearlessness, that Robin Williams approach to just being able to do anything. And now it's been so useful in every avenue of my life. And it's just given me that fearlessness to be able to take on the things that I do.
Yeah, I think for me, it very similarly, it gave me the ability to not be worried to fail.
Yeah.
So coming from the startup community prior to coming into game development,
yeah,
Failure is key. You need to fail. You need to fail fast. So improv, you are failing half the time that you're up there.
That's right.
And you just have another opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
Each time you speak.
Yeah, and the more you can embrace, like, however you're genuinely feeling, the better you can do. And if you can inject maybe even some of, like, what you're feeling into that, then it comes across genuine. People connect to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you working on currently with 404?
So we have a really exciting project that we're working on right now. So I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Esports World Cup that's going on in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I saw it on CNN yesterday.
Was it really? Nuts. Wow.
Yeah,
I gotta keep my eyes out.
CNN.
That's amazing. I mean, we've got to make sure that they're mentioning us in these posts. But we are lucky enough, and we have the pleasure to design the Fortnite maps that they're playing on. So there's I think it's an over $1 million prize pool that they're competing across.
Sheesh.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's 1.2 million at least. And so we developed 3 competitive modes for them. They're Call of Duty style modes, but based in Fortnite. So they're 4v4 modes. So we partnered with ESL to create these modes, and we're able to participate in the qualifiers at DreamHack. And so this is our primary project right now. We also have some additional projects that we're working on with Death Row Records.
Yes, of course. Snoop Dogg?
Right?
Yes.
I had the pleasure of meeting Snoop Dogg a little while ago.
Jeez. See, it's taking you everywhere. It's amazing.
And the coolest
Fortnite.
Is Fortnite. I just got into all this by accident.
Yeah.
But we're working with Death Row Records to bring some musicians into the game and some custom content. So we worked with the rapper T Grizzly to create a experience.
Yeah, holy cow, that is awesome. That is like, what did you talk to Snoop about? Please tell me about that.
I unfortunately didn't get much time to talk to him, but I have a good relationship with his son Cordell. So
Cordell, yeah, he's a football player, isn't he? He's like trying to be, or I know that Snoop was like a coach at one point, and he played a lot of football.
Yeah, maybe in the past, but I think so. Cordell's really an entrepreneur. So nice. he's taking on. It's pretty incredible what he's able to do with, firstly, the power of this, like the Snoop Dogg brand and Death Row Records. But beyond that, he's taking a lot of ownership and developing, like they've got this really cool ice cream brand called Dr. Bombay's.
Yeah. I know about that ice cream. Yeah. Yes.
Just plugging all their stuff, but they're gonna love it.
Yeah. So I got to interview Dan Rue we did a party at the Super Bowl for Lee Steinberg, and I met Dan Rue there, and he was talking about Dr. Bombay.
It's
and
super good.
Looks awesome. I looked it up. I was like, oh man.
I'm pretty sure it's available in like Walmarts and most
in our country.
Yeah, in the US, not in Canada.
Oh, not in Canada.
Unfortunately,
okay, I have to pick some up and make sure it doesn't melt before I get home.
Yeah, you got to try some. At least try some while you're here.
Yeah, I will. Where can I get it? Walmart?
I'm pretty sure you can get a Walmart. And
maybe a CVS?
Yeah, maybe a CVS, but definitely Walmart.
CVSs are everywhere. I love going to a CVS.
Likely a Target as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still spend a lot of time in Waterloo? Is that where you're located?
I'm based in Waterloo, but right now, for the rest of the year, I'm basically traveling every 3 weeks.
Oh.
So it's going to be exciting. We're going to be in Riyadh next after this. And, I can't even keep it all straight, but lots of other places. Texas, Seattle, Atlanta, maybe.
That is what I want to do, is just go everywhere. And
I was just in Prague.
Yeah. Prague.
Yeah.
What were you doing in Prague?
There's a Epic hosts Unreal Fest.
Yep.
So they had their first Unreal Fest in Europe this year. So I attended that. It was absolutely amazing, like completely sold out, wait list. If you're interested in the Unreal Engine and you're in Europe, you need to be attending these in the future. There's one in Seoul and one in Tokyo as well, in the Gold Coast. So that was the reason, is attending another conference.
That's amazing. I've actually been teaching myself Unreal because I worked a lot with Unity. I do like virtual reality development, which has been really fun. I've been working with WebXR lately, but the power of Unreal is unreal. It's amazing, all the things that you can do with it. And I was talking to Steve Isaacs over LinkedIn. He just went to the Sphere.
Yeah.
I went to the Sphere a few weeks before him, and I guess he's a deadhead as well. And they use apparently Unreal for their backgrounds, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what's possible now.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see where that can go, and it's wild that Unreal is like going so much further beyond gaming, and people are really seeing like the real time actions and things it can do for different types of production.
Yeah, like with virtual production and what they're capable of doing for movies and everything, it's pretty crazy. Like Mandalorian and
just
like
going to mention the volume. Yeah, it's so cool. I'm excited to see where that goes. So where do you think that's going to go?
With the crossover.
Unreal's like branching out in a different.
Well, I do think that especially for UEFN and Fortnite Creative, what we're doing, especially with all the tools that we've been getting with the advancements of like UEFN, I do think there's going to be a lot more crossover with studios or companies that are primarily using Unreal Engine and that have the opportunity. Like they're already developing assets. For example, The Mandalorian, like I mentioned. They have all these assets that they've used to develop in-game scenes and cinematics and everything. All those assets could be repurposed to develop a game, and even just to be the assets in the game to develop a Mandalorian tycoon, like we were talking about tycoons plenty this morning. There's so much that you could do, and the asset development, since a lot of it's done, just needs to be optimized for the platform. So I think there's going to be a lot more crossover between, especially film companies and gaming. In the next year or so. Gaming and film is a big one, but also music, especially with Fortnite Festival. I think there's going to be a lot more musicians integrating into Fortnite and getting their custom audio. Like I cannot wait for the next time. I mean, we recently did a project with Miles O'Neill, Shaquille O'Neal.
Yes. Yeah, I do know Shaq. Yeah.
And so his son Miles we did a project in collaboration with a company called Dawn, and he released his songs in our island.
Cool. Yeah, now that they have the jukebox and they got the music licensing cleared, like Fortnite is like the mecca. I've never seen someone or like a company franchise like that, where you can play as Goku and you can play as, Paul Atreides from Dune. You can play as John Wick. Those are my favorite.
It'd be Naruto.
Yeah, right? Naruto. And you can do the actual, like, Naruto run.
Right?
Have you guys got it? So I had an idea once. Like, it's such like you've got this huge setting. You've got these characters. You've got these actions. Are people getting into, like, creating, like, movies and TV shows or content like that? So if you were to, like, narrate yourself as a third-person player, as a character, you act as that character. Is anyone broken into that space?
We haven't seen a lot of that happen yet. I do think that is, back in my talk at Unreal Fest, I did mention this, that I cannot wait for the moment that we see an original film, a short film being launched in Fortnite. I'm sure there have been people that have done it so far, but nothing that has really broken the barrier to being like viral or really, really notable.
Yeah.
But I would love to see somebody develop a short film. But the big thing is player engagement, right?
Yes.
You want players to be engaged. So I think it needs to be more of like an immersive film experience where if you've seen any of the Fortnite concerts or participated in any of them, they've got this interactivity to it. So you're participating in the environment. You're flying through space or whatever it might be. So those elements being woven in as your player character going through the storyline, it would be really, really powerful.
Yeah, I think so. Even with, like, you can do the replays, and then you have a camera that you can literally move around in free space. And, I didn't get the right shot. Oh, guess I don't have that shot anymore. Yes, you do. It's in your replays. So you can just take the camera again, and then you can guide it with your mouse. So if you have a good shot, you can, like, kind of cinematically tell the story that way. I think I'm going to have to start doing that. Now that I think this is maybe my calling.
Yeah, I wanted to comment, because you had said earlier that you are starting to learn about Unreal Engine yourself and coming from a Unity background?
Unity background, that's right.
I'm trying to remember exactly what you said, because it triggered
Virtual reality.
Virtual reality, right. Yeah. So there's a podcast that's called Unofficial Unreal Engine Podcast.
Okay.
Like, and so these guys are like specialists in VR and when it comes to Unreal Engine. Yeah. And they've taken a liking to Fortnite Creative as well, and the UEFN. Cool. So it's really exciting to see what some of these people with a VR perspective are bringing to the space. There's, again, like, it's a different angle to take because it's not necessarily VR, but it's a lot more accessible.
Yeah.
So it does provide a similar experience. So you can develop something that's like, could be similar to whatever virtual reality experience you're trying to develop, but it could exist in Fortnite as well. and even just as a marketing opportunity to market the larger experience.
That's right. Yeah. And that's kind of where I started, of all places, is in 2016 when I found out about virtual reality. A friend of mine had created his own thing. I'm like, how did you do that? I need to learn how to do that. So I just like went on some Udemy classes online. I watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos. I'm like, how do I do that? And things like Unreal Engine, it's just kind of like you don't have to type every line of code. You can drag and drop all the actions. Hey, I need this, controller set in my scene. Okay, there it is, drag and drop. Oh, I need this model in my scene, drag and drop.
You're talking about like the blueprinting system, right? Yeah. So a lot of that is actually that same principle, I guess, applies to UEFN. Yeah. So there's like direct event binding. So it's a way of basically just putting things together from more of like the layman's perspective, like being able to just, as opposed to writing code.
Yeah.
But like you said, you were learning everything by watching YouTube videos.
That's it.
Like our whole studio is actually self-taught. Like none of us have formal game design.
Yeah. I don't either. I just I have to do this because I want to see if I can do this, and if I can make my own worlds that are fully immersive, that's attractive. And then I can create my own spaces. And that's kind of how I got in backwards to events. It's like the event spaces, they have this truss, they have this drape, they have the lights, they have the cameras, they have the action. But, not everyone has that everywhere. But if you have virtual reality, you just put a headset on and you're there. So currently I'm working on solutions for the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
And because it's so new, there's not a lot of accessibility or framework for that. Luckily, you can download SDKs. I have definitely for Unity, I believe Unreal as well, where you can start building your games, and then you can do them through WebXR, or you can just you can live update your stuff, hit save, go back into the experience, and it's there for you. You don't have to go through an app. You don't have to submit all your changes. There's no red tape to get through. So it's really cool how that all works. Have you gotten into the VR space at all?
Not really. Largely because it doesn't necessarily apply to Fortnite Creative at this point, but I do take a lot of learnings from the community, and especially just what players are looking for when it comes to immersion.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the biggest thing to learn from the VR space is how to capitalize on immersive gameplay. And immersive experiences like that, and what elements really stick out to people. A lot of that is really just it's hard to pick another word other than immersive, but when you are able to see things, touch things, experience them right in front of you, it's so much more powerful.
It is, yeah, it's so cool. And but the Fortnite space is so cool. I remember when they did first announce that they're adding extra games, or you could start designing in Fortnite. I'm like, how cool is that? I want to do something. I want to do it with a Naruto, or I want to do it with a John Wick. I'm not going to be able to send an email to them and expect a response back. But if I have the Fortnite ecosystem, not only do I get that directly, I don't have to go through kind of anything. I just have to build my game and then put it out there. And then the platform is the platform, and you can just access it super easily. You obviously saw that potential.
Yeah.
And where did you first get the sense that, hey, oh my goodness, we can do this?
Well, for me, it's a bit of a unique story, but I was in school after I was laid off from my job, and Fortnite Creative had just come out, and I was like, this seems pretty interesting. Let's try it out. So I dove in, created a couple games. About 6 months into my program, which is a year long, one of my games took off. Had crazy success. And this was back with 2019. So I had about 150 million players go through my experience.
Oh my goodness, that's
crazy,
a lot.
Right? And it was 40 minutes average playtime. It was a significant experience.
Wow, that's a good retention of
and they had great retention day to day, day after day. So it was one of those things where when I saw that happen, I was like, wow, this is actually viable as an opportunity. I finished school and did not have to look for a job. I was comfortable with the earnings I was making there, feeling that I could move on and just full time put every effort into this.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, throughout all of that time, I'd met my team, and we formed a team after we realized, hey, we've got a real opportunity here, and we had some brands interested in working with people. So we basically formed our business around a need.
Yeah. That's so cool. It's amazing. I've talked to several people, myself included, all the amazing things that came out of the pandemic because we were cornered. It's like, why don't I just try what I love doing or like I'm super passionate about right now? And then it just takes off for you. And then the world opens back up and then the world is your oyster.
Yeah. Now that you said that, actually, my game took off right at the beginning of the pandemic because I remember school switching from in-person to online. And right about then I was like, one of my games just did amazing.
That's so cool. And now everyone's going to be inside playing it. You probably thought, right?
Yeah. And well, I didn't really expect that. But then it just snowballed really quickly. And a lot of other creators did notice that same success. So it was a really good opportunity to get into the space. And yeah, it's pretty incredible experience.
It all worked out for you. That's great. And it's because you weren't like trying to do something for someone else. You weren't like under the gun from a boss and it was all you. What was the game that did take off for you?
It was a Zone Wars game. It's called 3-2 Zone Wars and Box Fight. And I think part of the reason it took off was back in that time, creators could make hubs. So there was a Fortnite Creative hub that you would go through to play games.
Yeah.
This was predating the Discovery platform that exists now.
Yeah.
So I designed a hub that was a really, it was a time-themed hub. It was pretty awesome looking at its time. Now it is what it is, but I look back and I'm like, oh my God. But because my hub was selected to be featured in game, I was able to select a game to feature alongside it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what led to that success.
That's so cool. I love that. And then you met Josh. How did you and Josh meet?
I actually can't remember exactly how we met, but it was a lot of, I think it was through one of our other employees, Brady. So we generally all met from saying, oh, that's so cool. How did you do that? Like, can you show me? Do you want to come and do that in my island? It was very collaborative and very trusting phase of Fortnite Creative. So we just started casually connecting. We became friends. And then very shortly we realized, hey, we work really well together. And, we all have very similar mindsets and we want to do the same things. A lot of us had traditional jobs, excluding myself at that time because I was unemployed. But the rest of the team were either employed or underemployed. So they were doing things like they were exceedingly intelligent people, working at a restaurant. With incredible music talents, with other all these types of talents, and extremely underemployed. So it was a really empowering moment for all of us to be able to say, hey, I'm going to take this into my own hands. I want to do this. I'm going to put everything into it. I'm going to learn. I'm going to continue to grow, develop my skills, and partner with people and just try to build a business.
Yeah, that is so cool. I'm so happy for you, and I'm glad that all worked out for you. It's amazing how all these stories work out. What is your day-to-day like? You're probably not having a typical 9 to 5, like, oh, I better wake up and I better do this amount of work, but then I have to go to Prague on Thursday. And then like, what does your weeks look like?
For me, it's probably a little bit different than the rest of the team, but we actually do operate on a pretty regular schedule. We used to pretty much work any time of day, any time of night. It was an extremely unbalanced work-life balance.
Startup.
Very much so. Yeah, it was everyone's putting everything in.
Yeah.
But a couple years ago, we transitioned to salaried employee, like everyone's salaried, and we were able to to make our business the most successful it could be. Try to focus on those 9 to 5 hours, but realistically, it's more of like a varied 11 to 7, 10 to 7.
I love those hours,
and it's super nice. Well, especially for me because I'm on the East Coast, and the rest everyone's scattered about because we're 100% remote. But it's really nice to be able to offer the freedom to our team as well. Half of our team has kids, so them being able to leave in the middle of the day, go pick up their kids, take them to go see their talent show, all of that stuff it's a huge benefit.
Major, yeah. I feel like that could affect your work if you're like don't have that work-life balance, and if you're also at the beginning stages of a startup, like you are doing more than you should be doing. You should be focusing on what you're really good at, but you're thinking about the business side. You're worried about like the success, and it's kind of like sometimes it can drive you, but sometimes it can drive you insane. But I'm glad that you're able to make it through that stage because that's how startups start up.
Yeah, it was quite the transition, and to say, hey, no one's working on weekends anymore. Everyone's like, oh my goodness, really? Like we're not going to work on weekends. So we don't do that. And like we gave them a 4-day weekend last weekend or this past weekend for the 4th. Cool. Saying everyone take an extra day off. Like we're going to Chicago.
I love it. That's fantastic.
But your original question was my day to day. So for me, it like I said, it varies, but we wake up, we sit down, we work. Our office is Discord. So we basically hop in a Discord call and we work there, and we'll go off on our own. But everyone's across time zones. So we'll meet up, do our daily stand up. We kind of work on that agile. We take that bit from the agile systems, but so we have our daily stand up. Everyone brings their updates and then parts ways, gets to work, gets into their little pods.
Fantastic.
But for myself, it's like a lot of phone calls and then planning to go away and then getting into the nitty gritty and writing code sometimes and doing some stuff in the engine, but yeah, it varies.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad it's going that way for you. What are you hoping to see for the future in Fortnite as far as what you do?
That's a big question too, but for me, really, I hope to see the focus on quality games come back. So we're seeing a lot of Discover content being very popular and successful, but it's not the quality of games that I would like to be seeing. You know what I mean? And a lot of other people in the community are developing these extremely high quality visual experiences, great game loops, but they're not being rewarded by the platform.
Yeah.
So what I really hope to see is that there's multiple ways that content can be surfaced and highlighted. Sometimes more hand curated because the algorithm does a great job at picking up those metric based things, but it doesn't do a great job of picking up those things that are beyond metrics, like the look and feel of a game, or the being able to tackle a new genre or blend genres. Like those types of things are not picked up by the algorithm the same way. So I really hope to see the focus on quality games and AAA quality games coming to Fortnite being, in the next year or so, being a big focus.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how that space grows because I kind of saw that potential when I first heard about it. So it's amazing to meet people who actually went for it and are making it happen, because I personally think it's the best game out there. I've been playing with my friends since 2018, and we don't play as much as we used to, not because the game isn't good. It's just because my friends are usually distracted by other games that we play, for a week, and then it dies off, and we're just game hopping at this point when we know that Fortnite is the best game. So
yeah, along those lines too, I really do hope to see more. One of the things I've noticed at DreamHack this past year was a lot of the players in Fortnite are much younger, and the players in Call of Duty are much older. And I'd like to see Fortnite bring those players, somehow draw those players in, because that's firstly, that's a audience that has spending power.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's also, like you said, where a lot of your friends are. So yeah. People that do like Fortnite, their friends aren't there. So I really want to start to see other popular FPS players come to Fortnite and really allow Discover to offer them the content that they want to play.
That's right. And my friends are mid-30s and now in their 40s, and we're still playing this game, getting our butts handed to us by, 14-year-old kids with sharper reflexes than we do. But luckily we can't see what the ages are of the people that are beating us, and so that's at least a thing. But we still love playing it. We just were playing the Reload, which was
really
awesome.
Fun. It's the most fun I've had playing Fortnite since it came out.
Yeah, and there's some really great new items that are a lot of fun to play with. So yeah, I'm really excited to see more of that. And there's always just the next new cool thing, and it's hard to not pay attention to all the stuff that Fortnite's doing. But thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure to connect with my fellow Canadian, Jessica Jean Armstrong. Do you want to plug yourself a little bit?
Sure. I mean, I've plugged myself and plenty of other people this whole time, but
sure.
You can check us out on Twitter let's start over, at 404FNC, and that's us everywhere on socials. Our website is 404creative.gg. You can reach out to me on Twitter, on LinkedIn, wherever you like. Definitely come check us out, play some of our games, and thanks for listening.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.